I don't sleep. My head is always like, you need to ride, you need to ride, you need to race.
What happens after 2020?
So we had like 600 kilometers in 4 days.
So what was the difference? What made the difference?
And I wake up in the midnight, maybe like do 2 hours on the Zwift training, and I ended up going into the banana plantations.
Welcome to Baiskeli Stories, where boardrooms meet bike trails and business strategy shares the stage with family dinners.
We are two ambitious women balancing corporate careers and the joys of motherhood while making time to log miles on our bikes.
My name is Kahaki, co-host of Baiskeli Stories. I'm a wife, mother of 3, I work for family business, and I love the outdoors.
And I am Rose, a wife, proud mama, fearless adventurer, and business leader.
We're diving into what it really takes to wear all the hats without losing ourselves in the process.
From power moves at work to powerful climbs on the road, we're talking breakthroughs, burnout, and balance.
So, clip in, because this ride is just getting started. Welcome to Baiskeli Stories.
Hi everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Baiskeli Stories. Today we are excited to have with us Jordan Schleck. We have known Jordan for as long as we've been cycling seriously, and I think that was from 2020. And we've seen him grow. Most of you know Jordan in the cycling space. If you follow local cycling series as well as some of the international races, Jordan has really come up, and you're most likely to find him on the podium of most of the races he enters, especially the local ones. He's also toughening it out there in the races in Europe and in the US. But we'll hear more about what he's been up to since, those days we started, and more so how it is that he's a cyclist today. And of course, as usual, I'm joined by my co-host, Kahaki.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to back to Baiskeli Stories.
Good. So I've talked a lot. I could say a lot about Jordan, and I want him to now take over and take us back to the beginning. Who is Jordan?
Yes, hi everyone, it's Jordan Schleck here, racing for Team AMANI. Yeah, super excited to be on this interview. It's a long journey, I think. But I'm happy, and at least happy to see you doing something like this from the cycling love.
Yes.
And making something out of it.
So yes, that doesn't tell me who is Jordan. So you need to tell me who is Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan is a small guy. The name is bigger than the person. So originally born, in Uganda, Kampala.
Right.
It's a small town, a lot of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
So as Jordan, a hardworking guy, determined, and so it's a long story once we go back with my cycling journey, how it started, and how did I make it to here. So it's pretty interesting story, and looking forward to share with you.
So tell us.
Do tell us. Yeah, do tell us. Actually waiting
We're
to hear.
waiting to hear.
So,
we know a bit here and there, but now, take us through.
Yeah.
How did it start? When did you start cycling, Jordan?
I started cycling back in 2006, so when I was around like 6-7 years. Yeah, but that's childhood life, learning how to ride the bike within the community.
Yeah.
And then when I turned around like 9-10, so I started like training a bit more serious, but at the same time I was more doing football. Like a lot of people call me a guy of many talents. So I used to do a lot of things. Football, I used to be my hidden talent. I used to be a I dance as well, but
Hey.
a lot of people don't know that.
Right. We'll make you dance
So,
here for us.
I know.
So, yeah, during my high school, luckily I had a scholarship through football from my
Okay.
primary till to Form 4, and then luckily I had a chance with a friend of mine to sponsor me for the high school. And then that's when I dropped my football, but I used to love football than cycling.
Okay.
But as you know, once we go back, like in the football field in Africa, sometimes it's pretty hard to make a living through that side. The easiest thing I think you can do is have a scholarship because now the school gains much at the same time you're getting the free education. But whereby in the cycling side, it's pretty hard to find a school to do that for you.
That's true.
So I had to combine all the two stuffs so that I can survive with my educational side. Yeah.
So
And,
when did cycling become a passion? When did you know it was cycling? Like when did you know that was?
I think it was back in 2010, 2011. Yeah, but through my dad as well. He used to be a cyclist, but I was like, okay, now I need to start stepping,
So your dad was a pro cyclist?
Pro cyclist?
Yeah, like locally.
In Uganda now?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
So, and then I had to stand with my journey, and then started racing locally, doing a lot of racing, traveling to Kenya, traveling to Rwanda. And then, yeah, there are some things that really happened back home, political issues and stuff. And then that had really had me to leave home for a moment so that I disappear and start my new image of me, starting everything out fresh and see how things will go. And yeah, I ended up in Kenya. So the aim was to come and help my uncle Patrick Soma with the mechanics and stuff. But I think my uncle saw I was more eager to ride my bike than walking because everything was like bike. So yeah, and then he spoke with David Kinja, who was a good friend of my dad back in the days. So, and then that's how I joined the Safari Simba camp. And my goal was like, I need to push myself, win everything I can that it's on the table. And the target was to earn through cycling and to chase those big goals of racing big races.
Big races,
yeah,
right.
like Tour de France, but it's a big, it's a big goal.
It's a big,
Yeah,
but not impossible.
yeah, it's possible, I know. Yeah, and then I started racing, winning several races in Kenya. I became top 5, top 3 in the country. So, yeah. And then, things started
So that
happening.
was 2010, between 2010 and the time we came to meet you in 2020.
Yeah.
You were just doing local races.
Yeah, local
in
races,
Kenya.
schooling as
And
well,
school,
football.
okay.
Yeah.
Jordan, how old are you?
I'm 22.
You're 22.
Wow.
Wow. So you were like,
Yes, he
You
was
were like
17 when we met
he
him.
was 17 when you met him, but he was 8 when he decided cycling was the
Yes,
thing.
was his thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
That's-
definitely
definitely a passion.
deep rooted.
So did your dad train you? Did your dad identify or not? Did he kind of stir you in that direction and then start training you, or did it something that you started to
Figure it
enjoy
out yourself.
and then now then you started?
Yeah, so if I look back where I grew up, like the only things we used to do, we used to do biking and as well skating.
Okay.
So in our area, every Saturdays and Sundays, we used to pull out our bikes.
Okay.
And then when I was doing my biking, and I think my dad was like, maybe we try something. But even if you ask my dad, he never knew how I learned how to ride a bike. So it was kind of like, I want to push myself. How can my dad be a cyclist and I don't know how to ride my bike?
So you kind of taught yourself.
So you
Yeah.
did it for yourself. He didn't push you to do it.
Yeah, so because
Okay.
I remember I was in the village, we had gone for vacation to see our grannies. And I was like, it really tortured me. I'm like, my dad, he's one of the best cyclists, and I don't know how to ride. And at the school, everyone is like, maybe you're good at riding a bike, but I know myself, I don't know how to ride a bike. So once we went to the village,
So it was expected because your dad is a cyclist. You should also be
also
good.
a cyclist.
And that
You should
time
also
you don't
know.
know.
I don't know how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
So I remember like one of my friend, I think one of our granny, like sent us to buy some things to the shop, and like there are these black mamba bikes, and a friend of mine, I told him, you know what, I want to learn how to ride a bike, but the only way you sit behind on the carrier, and then you're gonna walk like so the stand, your legs will work as a stand once we try to fall. So my work is to control and try to ride. And then funny enough, like when we were riding, a guy like jumped off the bike.
Oh dear.
So like
Left
because I was
you.
good at controlling, and then
Yes.
he left me, I was like, no, I'm short and I'm not gonna control the bike, and I ended up going into the banana plantations. So yeah, and that's how I was like, okay, if I can control it, so I can ride a bike.
You can ride a bike.
Absolutely.
So after
yeah.
like 2 weeks, I got back home when I know how to ride a bike through the
Yeah.
Black Mamba. And then I remember during a national championships, elite national championships, so my dad gave me his bike to take it to the car, like and park it. And then I jumped on it like to try to rehearse and see if I still know how to ride a bike from the village where I learned.
Yeah.
And he was, and then I jumped on it and I rode. I was like, okay, now I know how to ride a
Now
bike.
you know.
How to ride
So
a bike.
now I'm going to start pushing
Yourself.
Yourself,
Yeah.
to get better.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
So-
then like he just saw me on the bike and was like, okay.
The boy knows.
But he never knew, like he doesn't know even how I started to ride a
Yeah.
bike.
Wow. Wow. So this is purely yourself, self-driven motivation
Yeah.
to learn, because you wanted this so badly. It took everything from you to learn how to ride. And I would say after that, you've just been building on that. And now your ambition grew.
Yeah.
So you come to Kenya, you're with David Kinja, with the Safari Simbas, you're receiving training, you're entering races, and your interest is growing. So let's take it from there.
Yeah, so after getting allowed to the Safari Simba, I was really so good, but at the same time, I was really good doing the side hustles, doing mechanics, a little bit of a tech boy, and like personally, I set up a goal. I was like, okay, I am talented, but I am going to push myself. If I get a chance, that would be good. But sometimes I know you may really put in a lot of work, but you don't get the support. So I had set up a goal. Personally, I had set up a goal of different years. If I hit up these years without seeing anything through cycling professionally, I need to just do it for fun and just focusing
Find
on the side
something
hustle.
else.
Yeah, just so that I don't really waste time, but stay within the community.
Stay within the
So
sport.
that really drove me so bad to wake up every day, really push hard, do even the craziest things. Like I don't sleep. My head is always like, you need to ride, you need to ride, you need to race. I'm always like, my head is like maybe 99% like
Cycling.
bike. Yeah.
Wow.
Obsession. Would you call it an obsession?
Yeah, because there are some days even I used to like train like 3 days or 2 days, like 2 times to 3 times a day.
Wow.
Even I wake up in the midnight, maybe like do 2 hours on the Zwift training, and people are like, they see my Strava like at 2 hours riding.
Wow.
So yeah, but it was all about like my dad really pushed me a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Taking me in that space of like, okay, if you want something, you have to really push, because we can only guide you, but we're not going to do it for you.
Exactly.
You have to do so. Because I remember when we used to be kids, we used to be many, and he used to say, you don't ride this bike because somebody rides it. You ride this bike with a goal. Other people just ride it for fun. Others do it, professionally.
Yeah.
Others just do it, for physical exercise. So you need to have a goal of it.
Decide what you want to do with this bike.
So, there are some days even we got like, we call them punishments. You know, like we used to be as kids, you know.
Yeah.
The coach says, you know, we're gonna do like 2 hours or 3 hours. And then because you see a friend has got tired, and you're like, as well, let me, you know, chill up, recover. And then our dad used to be so tough. After like we finished the 3 hours, like he finishes his 3 hours. And then for us, we have done like 2 hours, we have chilled. And then one day told us, you all have done 2 hours. You know what? We're going to do 100 kilometers. And if you don't want, the only thing, you go home. And once you go home,
kilometers.
you'll have to write a letter that is apologizing why you did that. So we had no options, you know, like...
Hey, that was tough.
Yeah, like we had no option by that time. Like, okay, there are friends, you know, I used to ride up with. You're like, oh, this is not good. Because I remember we rode from Nambole Stadium. We used to train from there. So we went all the way the Ginger side and then coming back. So we started riding around lunchtime, and then we finished our training back in the house around like 8 or 7 something.
Whoa.
And that really taught me a lot, you know. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I need to know where I want to be, and I need to let others do what they don't want, but I have to push
Yourself.
myself.
Yeah,
So I don't really get caught up in the mistakes. I need to push myself.
Yeah.
So, we all of us got a punishment just for only like 2 guys. And I learned much
You
through
learned
that.
your
Yeah,
lesson.
yeah,
You learned
yeah,
your lesson. So you're now self-motivated, self-driven.
Yeah.
Everything you do,
Yeah.
you have a clear vision of why you want to do
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
And that has been what has, I would say, brought you this far.
Yeah.
Interesting. So then what happens after 2020?
Yeah, 2020, I stepped in, I joined the Safari Simbas. We did local races, won lots of races in Kenya, Uganda, and some races in Tanzania and Rwanda as well. Yeah, and we did the migration gravel race. So we had no idea what is gravel racing is, because I was more of mountain biking and road cycling for the national team. And then 2021, we had like, oh, there is a new sport that is coming up.
Gravel.
Yeah, gravel. And then everybody's like, what is gravel? What is gravel? You know, but I knew like, if I'm good, I'm good. And something that was always in my head, if you're really talented, it doesn't really need someone like take quite long time to observe you talented. You can just do only one thing and somebody
can see it.
notes that you're really talented to doing something. And yeah, we did the migration gravel race. Everyone was like, oh, this race. So we had like 600 kilometers in 4 days.
What is a migration gravel race?
It's a
Where
race
does
that
it happen?
happens in Masai Mara. It's a local race that brings a lot of international field to compete with the locals. So they aim to bring a lot of international athletes to the local field and compete. We gauge ourselves, and at the same time, we're learning through them. And yeah, that's how, you know, you get to know where you are and where you need to develop
To improve.
personally.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
4 days of cycling, how many kilometers? 600 kilometers, you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
So each day is how many kilometers? It's about
150.
150. The longest was around 180 something.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
So do you go from point to point, or is it that a certain point and back, a certain point?
No, so we just do point to point,
Okay.
and then we do the camping the following day like that. Yeah. So in 2021 we did it, and like we had everyone. I think everyone in Kenya was just like excited. What is gravel? We're bringing gravel to the, you know, to the homeland.
Yeah.
We were like, okay, yeah. You know, we hear gravel has drop bars. We had no idea. But the only thing we know, it's an off-road racing. And then me, Ken, David Kinja, Kamau, and other teammates, we are like, okay, we're gonna go do this race, but our aim is to showcase what we have. It doesn't really matter the equipment we have, but we're
Talent.
gonna go there
Talent,
and
yeah.
kick us.
Give it all.
Yeah.
Give it our all.
We have no any international experience,
Yeah.
but we have to be there with our local bikes, and we're gonna
kick ass.
showcase.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the day came. Like we're a bit nervous, so we don't know anything about
Anything.
anything. Like you don't know what to expect. You
Yeah.
don't know
You just
even
do
the
it.
planning through it.
Yes.
So the nutrition side, you have no idea. You just know, sit on the bike
And go.
ride. If you find water, grab water, eat, drink, go
Keep going.
until you
Wow.
finish.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, we did the first stage and we are so like excited, with the big names, racing with Ian Boswell, a former pro in Team Sky,
Yeah.
Lawrence Tendam, Thomas Decker, like several guys,
Big
ex-pros,
names.
yeah. And like, okay, this is gonna be really so fun. So we kicked off the stage 1
Uh-huh.
and we really our aim was you have to stay in the group until you feel like you can't anymore.
Until your legs stop
Yeah.
stop moving.
So
So you're trying to keep up with.
yeah, but you don't know even what you're burning. Even the nutrition you have is really less than even what you're burning.
What you need.
But the goal is we have to perform and we have to finish this race. So already the mind, it's locked into it.
Yeah.
It's you're going to finish this race no matter what. So we kicked for the stage 1. We drove, we rode very hard with the guys. We got some mechanical issues. We mechanicked our bikes. We rode very strong and still we finished top 10, stage 1. And we started thinking the Queen stage is stage 2 and it's really long. It's 180 plus K.
Wow.
And everyone was like, oh no, this is gonna be so long. So we kicked again the stage 2. But now we had started gaining up the confidence, we feel we can compete with these guys. But no matter the equipment, at least we can compete.
You can keep up.
I remember on the stage 2, so the Queen stage, one of the longest climbs. I remember Ian Boswell and Rollins and Letsuli. So the guy were it was a single profile trying to pace on that climb. For us, even we had no idea. We just followed the tracking of the And then I remember on that climb, we really climbed so hard. And I was the only mountain bike guy who was the last one to get dropped with a 26er bike. And I think Ian was so surprised because I was there and I was committing to climb and working.
He's on a gravel bike.
Yeah, he's on a
You're
gravel.
on a mountain bike.
Yeah.
And you're keeping up until they finally dropped you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think after the race, he was so surprised.
Yeah.
How did I make it? I was the last one to get dropped on that climb. And then on top of it, because it was mist, you couldn't see how people, where they have gone to. And then I ended up going the wrong side a little bit. And then I'm now my GPX, it's sending notifications, I'm off the course. I got back. Coming back, I went I didn't want to get back where I've come from. So I wanted to get a shot and then I go back to the track. Funny enough, where I went, it was a fenced plot with a lot of barbed wires. I couldn't even jump.
So you missed.
I was now I have to go back through where I got lost and then follow the right track. I was this is gonna be a long day. We even not even a half of the course. So the first bunch went Ian Boswell, Lawrence Tendam, Sole, Geoffrey as well was there. And so Ken was behind me and some 2 guys were behind me. So I caught them up on the flat section. So then we started just riding together because now the first guys have gone. No big goals now. The goal is just to ride
To finish the
to
stage.
the end. Yeah. The second half of the race, I was just like, is this racing or is this a torture?
You.
Because now you have no idea. The only thing, you just follow the track
Yeah.
Yeah.
to guide you through. Whenever you hear it's giving you notifications, you know you're either off the course, and at least.
Is there a cutoff? Is there like a cutoff? Like
Yeah, they had a cutoff time, but most of the times, luckily, we are within the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It's consoling to hear Jordan ask himself those questions with questions. You know, is this racing or is this
what is
torture?
this?
I thought
Why did I bring myself here?
I know.
Yeah, like, 4 days, and the only goal, you just there to finish,
Yeah.
So fourth day, you finished up to the stage 4?
Yeah, stage 4. And overall, I finished. Actually, the third stage, we finished together, like with the big
Everybody,
guys. With the first group.
Wow.
And then, because I remember there was a flat section, close to 10K to go. Rollins, I don't know who was, somebody did a breakaway. And then like me, Ian, Letsule, and other guys, the only mountain bike guy in the peloton, but I was still walking, like as if I'm on a gravel bike.
Wow.
And I was so committed. And after the race, we all came into the finish sprint, and then Ian asked me, do you have a coach? I'm like, not really, but I get coached by my dad. Do you have a team? I'm like, no. I'm just having a local team. I think he was so surprised with a mountain bike 26
Being
fighting
coached. Yeah.
and
Self-coached almost.
Self-coached.
and
Wow.
committed to work in the peloton. No matter the case, I know I might get dropped, but
Yeah,
I'm committed
but
to work.
stay
That's the
there.
only way you can improve.
Wow.
And yeah, so the team, I think by 2022, now after the migration gravel race, we got like some invitations. So the team, I think, was as well developing to start itself. So we got some emails when the team is inviting us to do some international racing. Yeah, but before that, already had like lots of goals. Like I will do maybe one day international races, no matter the case. I left home because of political issues, but one day I will do it. I believe in myself and I will fight for it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen, it's not the end.
It's not the
it's not the
end.
end.
Tried. Yeah.
But
you
yeah,
tried
I'll
and
be
you gave
there.
and you gave it your all.
Yeah.
Once we got those news, like my friend, most especially Ken, he started believing in me so much.
Yeah.
Like, you spoke about this, we got there, no matter what happens, we have to finish, and we have to finish top 10.
Top 10. Wow.
That was the main goal.
So gravel racing is what opened you up to international races.
Yeah.
And basically got you noticed.
Yeah.
Oh.
So how did you join Team AMANI? Was it during that?
Yeah, so during the migration gravel race,
Yeah.
so after migration, so we got some invitations when the team is asking our local teams to send us for some races.
Okay, so Team AMANI is asking the local teams.
Yeah. So because they had like some support and they wanted to really test us maybe,
Yeah.
and to see if we have more, like we have more ambitions, and we eager to race
grow,
professionally.
Yeah.
So we got
picked.
me, Evans, Ken. Yeah.
Okay.
So we started proceeding with the paperwork.
Nice. So what was your first international race? What was the first one?
We did some local, I should say in Europe, it was in the Netherlands.
Okay.
So doing the local criteriums. And then as well Dolomites, hot rod Dolomites in Italy. So where I happened to win a stage win.
Wow.
In one of on the famous climbs, Stavio.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's interesting. So, Jordan, tell us about your training, because obviously, now when you move to Team AMANI, the training, would you say it like leveled up?
Yeah, sure.
Like completely changed, because then we really started to see you more in the races and actually doing very well in the races.
Yeah.
So, what was the difference? What made the difference with how you were training and how you were being trained?
So like back in days, so we used to train according to your pocket or according to what you have to survive. with. So back in the days, it wasn't making sense to train maybe 6 days in a week, whereby at the end you don't have something in the pocket or you don't have
So you
something
have
in
to
the stomach.
balance
You have to
training
balance,
and side hustles.
So yeah, as
I
well.
see what
So
you're saying. You have to
and
live essentially,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
And then after joining up the Team AMANI, so things really started changing because now we got employed by the team. So then it became a full-time job. Now if you want to do side hustle, still you have the chance. But that was the main goal
Yeah.
So the training started really changing because now the field we are stepping on, it was now a professional field.
Okay.
Professional field, competing with the ex-pros, still the active pros in the system. And we're bringing our developing experience competing with these guys. So everything has had to change from training, nutrition, your lifestyle, your communication, your discipline, how to really you have to try your level best to start adapting to that field of our professionalism. Yeah.
So that is part of what goes on at the Team AMANI camp.
Yeah.
They have an all-rounded program.
Yeah.
That ensures that you're not only an athlete, but you're, they're giving you do you have classes? Do you get
So at the moment,
any formal class?
So at the moment, so basically at the moment the team is more focused to develop them off and on the bike.
Okay.
So, but at the same time, it goes back into the personality. So what thing do you think you can do? If I can ride my bike and then, so what's my relaxing time look like? Can I learn something? Can I learn mechanic? Can I be really so good at speaking English, communication? Because now you can't be really a good, strong rider, but without communicating. So now it gets back to you. You need to know your weakness.
And develop.
And so the team will always be there to help you out and source all the, the resources to help you out.
I see. So AMANI is there to back you up on what you should do or what you would like to do off the bike. But the on the bike training is there. That is the primary goal of Team AMANI.
That's priority.
Then off the bike is a self-driven.
You have to come with a proposal and feel like, okay, this is something I'm eager I like to learn about. And the team will try to look all the support and the resource,
to help you.
like which person can we reach out and help us out on this field. So
where's the training camp?
So the training camp, it's at T10. So,
high altitude.
Yeah, high altitude. It's a cool place where a lot of champions come from. We hope in the future we're going to have a lot of champions from cycling.
So I guess we've known it for running champions. So clearly it's a place to be if you're training for anything. Athlete, is it running? I mean, any sport that requires endurance, if you ask me, and that lung capacity.
Because I think that's what it does. So tell me, what does a day in your life of training, like if you were in your 10, what does that look like?
In the morning.
In the morning, you wake up, what do you do? Like, what does it look like? As well as nutrition, if you can tell us about that.
So we wake up in the morning. So the breakfast, most of the times, it's ready by 7:30. Because most of the guys are always heading out for training by around 8:30 to 9. It depends if it's a short day. If it's a long day, sometimes around 8 sharp.
So what's a short day? What's a long day?
A long day, 6 hours, 5 hours.
Which is how many kilometers?
It doesn't really depend the trail you have used or the terrain. So some days you can hit up 180K, 200K. So it depends, but as long as you get into the hours in the right way.
It's the hours.
And then the easy days, maybe 2, 3. Or even if I just active recovery ride. So by 7, the breakfast is ready. Make sure everything, your nutrition, according to your schedule. How does it look like? If you're having a long day, you need to know how am I supposed to refuel my training so I can feel better.
So there's a schedule of what to eat. Is there a schedule?
In the morning, we eat standard food, bread, eggs, peanut butter, oatmeals,
Okay.
basic. And then when it gets now, if you're heading out for a ride, so that's when the different comes in, because we all have different tastes, and as well our digestive system works differently.
Yeah.
So some guys go with high carbs, a little bit low sometimes. So it depends according to
Yeah.
what you're going to do during that day, and you refuel in the correct way. And then once we get back after the long day or the easiest day, most of the times around 1, 2, and then already the lunch is ready. So the main dish is to have carbohydrate inside the body, protein and fats as well, so that you don't really grind the body so bad.
Yeah.
So your recovery starts recovering.
Immediately.
And then after your lunch, after taking up a shower, lunch sometimes. So recover, do some things. Some people go for English classes around the camp. And then others do join the mechanics to navigate, to improve their mechanicking skills.
And this is bike mechanics
Yeah.
specifically. Okay.
Yeah, and then as well by around 4 to 5. So always the guys are having, we call them Pilates, so that's kind of yoga and stuff. So yeah, around that time, and then from there you're free to do whatever you want.
Okay.
And then you set up your mind for dinner and for the next day.
next day,
So yeah, it's pretty a tight schedule.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you do it right way, at least you spare like 3 to 4 hours of free time, to do other things.
But it's very structured. Sounds like very structured. And then so you train every day. You
Yeah,
do that 3 hours, 4 hours to train every day.
Every day.
Is there a
one
day
day
where
of
you
recovery.
do gym?
Yeah, sure.
Strength training, yeah.
Yeah, normally strength training, we do it once we're starting up the season.
Okay.
More of, maybe like a specific day for that.
Okay.
But at the moment, most people do strength training after the ride, maybe like a 1 hour strength training. So like twice or once a week. It depends how your body responds to the gym workout as well. But it's one of foundational training.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So you can see why your cycling improved. Like
Yeah,
you're
definitely. Because now
focusing on it every single day.
he didn't have to. So cycling became his job, his day job, as opposed to trying to balance survival
hustle
and cycling.
Yeah.
So it makes a difference when you're in a team and then you're being coached and directed, and the holistic approach that Team AMANI takes, make sure that they don't leave you just with cycling. But if you're interested and keen,
Something
pick up
else.
something.
Yeah, that's really nice. I didn't know they did that actually.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
So you mentioned about goals.
Yeah.
You talk about your goals a lot.
Yeah.
What are your near-term and maybe long-term goals? How does Jordan at 30 look like at 25?
Yeah. Yeah, Jordan at 25. I should say by 25, at least winning most of the big races in Europe, because could
Speak
be
that to the camera.
yeah, like even before 25, my main goal is to be able to be winning the gravel races,
Nice.
or to be more competitive, or to be noticed in the field. I'm there and I'm gonna showcase
Something.
I'm there to showcase and help others as well.
Right.
In 10 years to come, I'll still, I think, be within the cycling community, but I think I'll be more of coaching, helping the teams to, in the equipment-wise, the scientific, improving more details to the equipment.
Bike fitting.
Yeah, bike fitting stuff. So trying to bring all the resources back home that we need to step forward in the terms of performance. Yeah.
And this is what you have seen by your exposure to cycling in Europe, and the US.
Yeah, because like me, when I was racing, or all my time I've been racing, you can be really so good, but the smallest things you really sometimes you jump the ice, you skip, they can really make a big difference. Like once we were growing up, we never had chances of nutrition, but if you look around in 10 years backwards, nutrition right now has changed a lot into all the sports.
It's key.
So now I came to realize, okay, there are some basic stuffs that we do really miss, and we think they don't do really matter.
Yeah.
But they do play a big part when it comes to the competition. So, and those are the things I want to really more focus on, bring them down. How can we improve this? If the training is good, everything is good, how can we make this passion a little bit more better, and we see something more productive for better results?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And again, what's your vision, or how do you see the sport evolving based on where you've come from yourself and what you're seeing around? Now we have camps like Team AMANI, maybe there's more than, we also have the Joyriders, where we are also trying to develop talent. Some of our boys have moved from our training fitness to Team AMANI. So how do you see the sport evolving, and where do you see the future of cycling? Because I think we're now producing, I think there's an Ethiopian Germain, who's on the Tour de France. Now he's a known name. So are there more of those based on what you're seeing? Are we about to take over the world? Cycling, the next big thing for Africa?
Yeah, like as usual, like in the cycling, everyone and all the teams are trying their level best every day to improve themselves. Yeah, but personally, I see the cycling in Africa is really growing. We just need a lot of support. We need the resources. So we have the time, but the resources are pretty less. And when you have no resources, sometimes you don't know where you are. Like you don't know where you are.
Right.
So we need like more sponsors, more good competitions.
Right.
And the more we can have competitions, and the more, that's the easiest way as well to observe new talents.
Exactly.
And then we start fine tuning them up. You start with the foundation or build up, development, and then you start leveling up. You start leveling up, because even Binyam Girmay, a lot of people saw him like maybe 3 years back, or let's say 3 years, but he was into the system, of the cycling. He has been into the cycling culture for quite long. So, they are developing him often on the bike. So by the time he started shining, he was already like...
There was already a lot of work happening.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, wow.
So this is something, I believe we have the talents, just we need more big supports. And but personally, we need to believe in ourselves. We have the talents, so we need to do a lot of things that going to attract the sponsors to feel like, wow, we can support these guys and showcase. So,
I see.
But I know we have the talents.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. We have the talent.
I like that. And you are a talent.
You are a talent.
We watched it and we're just amazed. So for you, Jordan, what's next in store? I know what are you training for right now? What are you preparing for?
So at the moment, I'm looking forward to Loop in Naivasha, which is the 3rd edition. And my main goal is to go there. It's the UCI gravelracing and a qualifier of World Championships.
Okay.
So my main goal is to go there, showcase what I have been training for, perform and set a big examples of the young athletes here. Migration as well. We need to fight, we home. And so the confidence is pretty high.
Okay, good.
So, and then afterwards, looking forward to national championships, hopefully.
Okay.
Back home in Uganda. So, and then, yeah, take a little bit of break, maybe 1 week,
Yeah.
just easy, and then
Get back
we
into
start
it.
focusing to Europe camping again and US
Wow.
camping, hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Jordan, it's been so good to have you with us. We're happy to finally be able to speak to you.
Yeah.
Rose and I have had you on our list of people we
People to
wanted to
speak.
interview and speak to, because we've seen you literally, I would say literally grow. I mean, when we met you, you were really good. And the story I remember, I don't know if you remember this, when we first started cycling, Rose, 2020, there's a young lady who came with an e-bike.
E-bike.
Yeah.
And then the battery died. And poor Jordan was told,
You
"You're gonna
take the
ride- you
e-bike."
give her your bike, you ride." So Jordan had to, ride this,
This
and he's so
heavy-
small, but he's riding this very heavy bike. But you rode
Effortlessly.
it. You rode it effortlessly. I always remember that story.
Yeah.
And so it's really been good to see you grow in the sport. And from us at Baiskeli Stories, we're wishing you the very best. We're watching you. We're cheering you on.
Cheering you on.
Because we
Champ.
know there are big, big things ahead. So thank you so much for joining us here on Baiskeli Stories. And we'll see you soon. And we'll see you next time. And we'll see you in a year or so, Jordan, so you can tell us what else you've been up to.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah? All right, great.
Yeah. So keep shining. Yeah,
Yeah,
keep shining.
Keep shining.
Yeah, and more podiums to you. More podiums to you.
Yeah.
Every day
Thank
is a
you.
day to fight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we'll see you soon on Baiskeli Stories. We'll see you next time on Baiskeli Stories.
Yes. Like, subscribe, share, and tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yes.
See ya.